Alright, hello and welcome everyone to a game I very much enjoy. If you've seen my previous videos, you might have seen Frostpunk too, but we're playing Victoria 3 today. Specifically, I wanted to play as Russia. And now while I have played this game a lot, I have not done what I want to do in 1.7 with Russia. Which is to take this large country, flip it to communism, try to raise our standard of living as high as possible with worker cooperatives, and we're just going to try to see how much of the world we can seize at once as well. This should be really fun. I very much enjoy Victoria 3. I have been streaming it a bit here and there on Twitch recently, but this is going to be the first kind of doing it as a video and seeing how the video goes. So, we're gonna go through a lot of steps here. I'm going to try to talk about as much of what I'm doing as possible, but if there's anything you don't understand, feel free to make a comment asking and I'll do my best to answer. But, starting in 1836 here as Russia, we are going to try to modernize it as fast as possible. And we are going to want to get the stock exchange first because of that market access price impact, because we want the market access to influence the local price of goods as much as possible. The more of this we have, the better our economy is going to be. So that is just guaranteed first research. Then empiricism next, because that wealth... This basically means that for each base standard of living that our population has, they'll gain another 0.5% guaranteed literacy. Plus the maneuvers for diplomatic plays isn't bad. It's a nice side benefit. But those are the two technologies we're going to want right away. Something else we're going to do, actually... Russia normally starts with a power block, and power blocks are very fun, great power mechanics. Major powers can technically use them too, but great powers are kind of the ones that can really use them. This sovereign empire one, we're going to disband it. And we're going to form a new one called the Ideological Union, and we're going to see how utterly terrible I utilize this. I hope it goes well. We'll see. It allows you to force regime change on anyone in the power block. It gives the power block leader a reduction to enactment times, but what I really want right off the bat is creative legislature. Because of that right there, that stall chance reduction, we're going to be using that. But upgrading it to the other levels will be very helpful as well. We could technically grab it as Sovereign Empire, but I want to experiment with just using it right away, because it is not as popular as the other power blocks. And we're just going to kind of quickly, I don't know, customize this a little bit. We could change this later. These are completely editable. Editable? You can edit these whenever you want. Like, we'll just throw something random, and maybe we'll take some ideas from the comments on what to rename it. Oh, and there we go. I am going everywhere. We're just going to give it the Russian imperialism name for now, with the expectation that we're going to change it later. Did that say it improved it from antagonistic from belligerent? That's not, that's not really a difference, but I guess technically the Ottomans hate us less? Oh god, that just sounds confusing. But a few things we definitely need to do right off the bat is we need to get our economy going. And to get our economy going, we need to construct. And to get our construction going, we are going to need a lot of iron, although we don't have the qualifications to do more than a couple of these. And we probably don't have the finances to do more than a couple of these, but we'll see how it goes. Finances are definitely my forte. They are not. This is going to go awful. But yeah, we're going to try to change Russia to socialist or communist as soon as possible, specifically to get worker cooperatives. We're going to try to take over as much of the world as possible, maybe make some friends initially, make some enemies, try to steal some very valuable targets like the East India Company. But that's not going to happen right away. A lot of them are not going to be as friendly now because of the power block shift that we did. And while we intend to make enemies later, we want to at least make France, Prussia, and Austria not hate us right away. So that way we can focus on the other people, like Sweden, who do hate us. You know, Sweden. We definitely want to invade Sweden at some point, just because. But who we're probably going to invade right off the bat, that I like to usually invade, is Persia, to make them a subject. Because Persia has a ton of very rich agricultural land, opium, silk, tobacco, dye. Also a lot of resources, iron, lead, coal. They usually have oil down here in the south too. I'm not sure how many of these subjects will directly annex, because sometimes it's better to leave a subject there. We also need a certain number of power block members to unlock the later principles. Like the fourth slot needs us to have at least 10 members. So we're going to want some subjects to be around. We could always annex Persia later on and then release them once we have unlocked socialism so we can force them to become a council republic. That might be what we do, actually. We'll probably do that because then we can at least enforce a lot of council republics. And I think that is what we want to do first. It is 30 infamy, but since Persia is an unrecognized regional power, it won't take much for us to yoink. We're just going to go yoink them right away. And make sure we give all the armies some of these extra supplies. It does increase their upkeep. It does make them consume groceries, but the extra offense and defense is helpful. Plus, they'll lose less morale in battle, which means more of them will fight to the death instead of giving up and running home. Which is good news for us. Not so good news for them, I guess. We probably want to keep some interests down in South America. We want some in China because we're probably going to intervene when the Opium War occurs just to protect China. And the idea there is that by protecting China and letting them get off opium, it does weaken Britain. Although then again, if we let China lose the Opium War, which maybe we actually will now that I'm thinking about it, it makes them very weak, and we can take a lot of the stuff over here later, like Amur, for example, in the other state here where Vladivostok is historically built, because they do have gold, and gold is very valuable. Well, not as valuable. It got nerfed recently, rightfully so. It does make a lot of money, but it's probably something we'll take. So maybe we leave the interests there just to stay notified. Probably an interest in the Nile. And I kind of want an interest in South America. Technically interested in North America too, but that's not as big of a concern. I want the interests in South America because if, say, Peru revolts against Bolivia, we can probably abuse that to just steal Bolivia as a subject. I have done that before. Construction-wise, we get a lot of construction sectors. We hope the economy can go for it. Politically, that is going to take a few months. We actually need to let a few months pass before we try to change our politics. And you will see why in just a little bit. Anything else before we begin? I don't think there is. We've got our subjects here. I actually do want to exempt the Baltic Governorate from service, though. Partially because I want to annex them later, partially because they almost never have the strength to fight. Finland, too. There's not really a point in pulling them into our diplomatic plays. It's honestly safer to keep them out of those plays. Circassia and the Caucasian Imamant... I might be mispronouncing those. Basically, these two little states, we can't take them over until much later. We'll have to try to deal with them when the time comes. But for the moment, there isn't much we can do against them. Ooh, empiricism is spreading. I did notice that. That is fantastic news. Because getting that done will be important. We'll want the atmospheric engine later because that can allow you to double your production. Ooh, Santa Ana was captured. That does not happen often lately. So Texas won't die. Britain is going to go beat up Qing. Or China, take your pick. Basically, they're going to go beat them up. We have no artillery. That sounds like fun. Ah, the good old events that a trigger, which you can choose either bad option A or bad option B. And I don't want to upset the armed forces, so it's going to be bad option A. Trying to see if Persia will just surrender if we pressure them. They did. Okay. So the reason why we added the banned slavery and the war rep war goals there, but didn't make them primaries in the diplomatic play, is because that caused Persia to just back down. So we didn't even have to fight a war. We didn't have to spend any not supplies. We didn't have to expend any manpower to actually beat up Persia. We just, yeah, I'm sorry. The notifications are going to do that a lot, I'm afraid. As we speed 5 our way through here. But now Persia is our subject as a protectorate. They do not like us. That's fine. We're not here to be loved. We're certainly not here to be hated either, though. We're just here. But we can do poor relations. That's fine. As long as they're economically dependent. And thankfully, Persia's landowners do actually start with a pro-Russia lobby. So their liberty desire is going to self-contain. pretty early on here. I did actually forget to look at my trade routes. That is a problem, because we don't need some of these starting routes. They're not very useful to us. Tools from Britain is interesting. I don't want that, though, because we do start as rivals with them, and we'll probably go to war a lot. Could import it from Belgium and Prussia, though. We might fight Prussia later, but later is not now. But later could be tomorrow. Let's see, we're going to wait till May, and once May rolls around, that means the heir apparent is now 18 years old. We can now move towards abdication. A problem, though, abdication requires at least one of these many possibilities to occur. The good news is that one of these is to make the current ruling party very, very upset. And what better way to upset them than to suggest that we end the monarchy? Because that causes a -20 shift in opinion. So we're going to do that, let a literal day tick go by, or 2 days, have the current czar abdicate, who's a traditionalist. Keep this in mind, he's a traditionalist right now, and the current leader of the Gentry Assembly is also a traditionalist, so we can't exile him. So we'll abdicate the throne. We're going to hold a private elite coronation so the aristocrats become more loyal. That's going to be very helpful. There's a special event for Alexander Romanov, because he is known as the Great Reformer. To my testing, I don't see the political strength effects actually occurring, but he is now in charge. We are going to now cancel this because we don't want them to stay angry, but we do want to kick them out of government temporarily to go on to the next part, to exile the traditionalist, because now he is not ideologically similar to the market liberal that's ruling. We'll exile him to spawn the guaranteed protectionist, who is a South German, by the way. And now that a protectionist is in charge, he does not support traditionalism. He actually wants to end traditionalism. So we're going to flip right back to the righteous government, which has randomly formed a political lobby with France. Is this our lobby? This is our lobby. So we now have a pro-French lobby in Russia. That was entirely random because we put the landowners back in power. That's very interesting. We do need to let another day tick by, let it register the change. We are now going to use him to get off traditionalism, because traditionalism is terrible. It murders the investment pool contribution efficiency. It lowers your taxation capacity. It drops the MAPI by 15%, which is huge. That is a significant impact on your economy. And it prevents us from reforming to better tax systems like per capita, which would give us $12,000 per week right now. So we're going to do that. And let's see, according to this, because we have all that authority still, because we're a righteous government, and thanks to the ideological union, it's only going to take 40% of the usual time to do every enactment phase. So we're actually probably going to face a bureaucracy deficit. The one benefit to traditionalism is that it does boost your bureaucracy by making it less costly. So that is going to be a problem later on. But later is not now. And then we'll actually see if we can't use this random enactment for the professional army. That would actually be really helpful. But we need to get agrarianism rolling first. Cover the retreat. And speaking of that, we do actually want to import iron where we can. And actually, really quickly, we are going to go in here and remove the tariffs on tools and iron, because we want as much of that as possible so we can use that for construction. We do want to export hardwood, though. It does make us money, but it is like an early... Because Russia starts out exporting a lot of wood. We could actually export that wood to boost the economy slightly. It won't help by a lot, but it will help. We could encourage grain exports too, but I think we'll just leave it where it's at for now. We don't really need to encourage more grain exports at this time. So we're going to kind of let all of that tick along. I do want to yoink the East India Company at some point. And we can actually declare an interest there to keep it monitored just in case we get an opportunity to do that. I don't think we will. Wow, we're going to get agrarianism very quickly. And I know we went over why, but it's still very impressive to see. Stealing the East India Company would be useful. The problem is that it does cause us to become a pariah, which will turn everyone against us. There is a way to mitigate that if we ally one of them and get truces with the others, or obligations. We could use that. But we're going to try to not have the world team up against us too early. We could also get lucky. The East India Company tends to have several civil wars, and if one of them is weak enough, we could pressure them into becoming our subject. But that is not guaranteed. Okay, advancement. Ah, King William IV has just died. So, long live Queen Victoria. We'll see if she lives a long life. She's currently 17. Sometimes she lives a long life, sometimes she gets overthrown within a decade. It's somewhat random and quite funny. It's just like a fun little game to watch. Okay, what happened? Foreign Manifesto. More political support for professional army. Industrial barriers for the Georgian people. I mean, weakening the Orthodox Church, that's not a bad idea. Which reminds me, I really should suppress them. I did forget to suppress the Orthodox Church. We do need to knock them down if we're going to get strong. Lighthouse of Progress. Members of the industrialists have been flocking to pro-British societies. Can we stop that from forming? Wait. Looking to the British system of wealth voting with a great sense of admiration, members of the industrialists have been flocking to pro-British societies. Industrialists join the anti-British society. Do they actually? Or do they form one? Okay, so that's bugged. They should be joining. They should have formed a new one, not formed. Okay, that's definitely not working as intended. We're also going to reject the petition because I can't afford to do a local police. That would not end well. We're going to try to build up a lot of these mines because we are starting to face, or at least be on the verge of, an iron shortage. So the downside to getting agrarianism here is that it is going to knock our bureaucracy down, which is going to knock our tax system down. But it is going to boost, and it already has, it is going to boost the investment pool, and it is going to help with the iron costs a bit. We also need to kind of set up a subsidization for the iron mines, because that will help attract people to work in them. It still won't do it right away, but we're going to kind of do it as best as we can there. And then also work on forming a professional army. I would like to get off serfdom as soon as possible, but since we have an opportunity to pass professional army, we really should. And this is where that 33% reduction to stall chance comes in. Our stall chance should be 49.5%, but thanks to creative legislature, it's only 32.5%. It's about as likely as a success chance. It's still not good. There's a roughly 1 1/3 chance that we're going to fail it. But that is a significant step up from, failing it half the time. Let's see, who else do we want to improve relations with? I mean, we're going to probably beat everyone's doors down later, but there's no reason not to do improvements here and there while we have time. China kind of makes sense. Having them on our side wouldn't be bad. Greece usually is very friendly towards Russia just due to starting relations, and then because you kind of share discontent towards the Ottoman Empire early on. I guess 2 Sicilies, why not? Actually, can we do Spain? No, Spain's too high. This will actually allow the investment pool to privatize more, maybe do more construction. But there's no guarantee that that will go well for us. Because remember, we are going to form a workers' cooperative later on, which does mean that the upper strata is going to resist that with all their might. But we'll do what we can. Let's see, iron is still expensive, but it's kind of coming down. Oldenburg is having a civil war. Ooh, if they had more to lose, they would actually become our subject. I do kind of want to do another war soon, but I think I'll wait for the Ottoman Empire to attack Egypt, and then we'll just kind of jump in. Ooh, why did Austria jump in? Because they were able to make them a protectorate. Interesting. Okay. I might click through things a bit faster than I should. I'll try to not do that too much. We are running a risk here with these setbacks, but I'm trying to mitigate the stall chance. The right of Kerensky. Right, pacification of the steppes. I've never been able to fully do this because you have to knock the liberty desire of all 3 of the subjects down below 50. Not that one. That's the fail one. They all need to be subjects with at least 25 or less liberty desire, but that's a bit difficult to get even with the rapid drops, because there's usually events that push them up, and they start out as protectorates. In my experience, it's usually better to just kind of let the revolt happen, and then just march in and put them down. It'll annex pretty much all of them anyway, so we'll be fine. Also, if I do this, it costs us money for years and drops our bureaucracy. It drops the liberty desire, but it's better to force the cost onto them and then just deal with the revolt, because the revolt is very easy to put down. Ooh, and at this rate, we might have a professional army very early, which is good, because peasant levies, they do reduce the military goods cost, but our army loses morale faster in battle, which is not good. And it does prevent some advanced training tactics later on. It also buffs the aristocrats, which we're definitely going to want to knock them down. They really stranglehold the country right now, and they're going to pretty much stop any change. It is true, some of them are part of the intelligentsia, that is worth noting. But this is better, because now we have a morale loss reduction. It technically buffs the armed forces, they're powerful, but that's because a lot of aristocrats are members, and that is going to change very quickly now. They're going to actually leave because peasant levies did increase armed force attraction for the aristocrats. And most of them originate from aristocrats for officer qualifications. That is no longer the case. And with that done, what can we try to change next? Is there... Oh, right, Romanov's market liberal ideology means he does espouse the idea of ending serfdom. Government is still unacceptable, though, if we form that, which is not good. What about going to per capita? It wouldn't be easy, but it would squeeze out a little money for us, which isn't bad. What else do the armed forces like? It would be nice to get proportional later on instead, but I don't think that's going to happen for a while. An early secret police? We need the Central Archives. Could form the National Guard. We could also just do nothing. Like this is a situation where we could also do nothing until we're in a better position later down the line. So it is just various options that we have. More taxes would be good, though. It would actually mean most of our pops would be taxed less because they're peasants right now. And more money is always useful. It's just a matter of, do we want to wait for proportional taxation? But I'm kind of leaning towards no. I think the sooner we change it, the better we are. The only reason to not change it, though, is if we want to save the approval of the landowners to go ahead and change tenant farmers later. Speaking of which, we should buff the intelligentsia now. It's going to drop our authority enough to where we're not getting as much enactment time reduction. But we should probably get them in charge as soon as we can. And I think we actually will go ahead and change the per capita taxation laws. We might as well, because they're gonna slowly calm down from that professional army enactment that we did. And we really do need the money. And we'll see how well that helps the peasantry. I think it will let them go up one standard of living level, although they're already negative, so that might just prevent them from falling down. We'll take the setback, try to keep the success chance up. Ooh. Okay, Bad Boyar's activated because our protectionist died. Interesting. So it was the landowners that got whacked by the random death first. And there's stock exchange, so that is going to improve the economy further. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about for those that don't know it, what I'm talking about is here, where if we go to the price setting, the price is currently decided in this state primarily because of our technology, but also due to the Volga River. 90% of this price is decided by the national price in the Russian market. And then the other 10% is decided specifically from the production and consumption, which is causing iron to be a little bit cheaper, about 4% cheaper in this state than elsewhere. But say we're in Perm, where it doesn't have the river, it's 16% for over base price for iron here, compared to plus 32% compared to base price. And that is why increasing our MAPI is so important. The higher it is, the closer the closer local prices will align with the national price. And that makes it very helpful for your economy. If we go over to Qing as another example here, and go to grain, these prices are roughly the same thanks to production and consumption, but 40% of the price here is decided by production and consumption. So if they overproduced or if they underproduced a lot, this price would be very different. What's a better idea? It's hard to say because a lot of these are different. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Clothing is 42% price in this state in Qing compared to the 20% national price. So there's a significant shift right there. 15% grain price compared to 23% national. It's that significant difference, and that affects the population's standard of living, which can then affect their demand if their standard of living is lower. We're probably not going to join this. If they're willing to help us take... Oh, that dropped a little bit. Ooh, interesting. We might watch that. We could Actually, this gives me an idea. Sorry, hang on. That gave me an idea. Let's stop improving relations over there. Let's actually improve relations with the U.S. If I can get the U.S. to help us, we could try to yoink a lot of Canada from Britain. But we are going to let that war happen because we're going to take a bit of land from Qing later. Not too much land, probably, but, you know, enough to think on it. Okay, so guaranteed loss of success or a chance. Let's take the chance. And it was the terrible roll. It's going to... Yep, legislative failure. That's another setback. So this is probably going to fail at this rate. That's not great. Death and taxes. That's not terrible. Who takes over the armed forces right now if he dies? Who is the most popular? I think it's a Luddite at 25. Yes. So really quickly, because we have an opportunity to kind of mold the armed forces here, who could we hire? The Republican is negative popularity. An authoritarian. Okay, authoritarian is not terrible. He wouldn't liberalize the country, though, which might be a problem. That could be a problem. That's not very useful to us. What if we do... Let's hire the Republican for the armed forces. Then we get a bunch of gentries. I guess the Jingoist on the off chance he gets in charge. I don't want to get too many of these, though. A pacifist is not bad, but I don't want them in charge. Republican again. So we might not be able to mold it very well here. In that case, let's find... Because I don't want a Luddite in charge. I don't think a Luddite helps us in the long run. Actually, it would be a lot easier if I just do this. What would you help us with? We're already on agrarianism, so you don't care. You actually wouldn't help us get to interventionism. Yeah, this is not very useful to us at all. So we'll just retire him, and then we'll just take the event for the success chance, and we'll see who's in charge now. It's the royalist, which is probably arguably better to maintain the righteous government. That way things will pass faster, or fail sooner. We probably don't want to radicalize the area further. That'll just create more problems for us to deal with, which is not what I would call a good thing. We can actually get more construction going, too, now that we have partially resolved the bureaucratic problems. Let's see, defections. Which one is better for us? The one that doesn't upset the armed forces, although their power is rapidly dwindling. Okay, so the French overtook us in great power status, and that upset the intelligentsia. So now we've got a pro and anti-French lobby. That is going to be fun to deal with later. Trade agreement with Prussia, we can use that for now. We do actually trade with Prussia, so that will help our deficit of bureaucracy. Social banditry again, that's not good. We'll take the risk roll, we fail it. Man, we're getting a lot of stalls. That's not good. That's why it's probably going to fail, is due to all those stall rolls. Britain and Spain are rivals. Oh, is Spain a great power? No, but they must have earned Britain's ire somehow. Oh, the East India Company took over... Oh, so this is a land war. They're not going to land navally. They're still going to win, but that's going to devastate some of China's provinces. Okay. Temporary embarrassment. Oh, I don't like it, but I'll have to just roll the success chance on the slim possibility, but that is going to hurt our finances a little. Yeah, that's going to hurt China a bit. Not by too much, but enough to where this population growth is going to be Yeah, it's falling pretty quickly. Nope. We kept rolling stalls. That's unfortunate. But at least we can say we tried. That's still 49, so we'll probably just keep the government as is. What else could we try to form then, politically speaking? Serfdom's at 5%, or getting off serfdom's a 5% chance, so there's no point in that. The Orthodox Church are surprisingly not that strong. Suppression is working very well on them. We could form a National Guard, but it might be better to just hold fast until we get a better opportunity. In fact, I did just remember there is this Intelligentsia General. That bumps them up to 14. Does that put us at 50? Oh, wrong button. It does. It's very, very precarious, but it does put us at 50, because now we have options. We could switch to landed voting. That would probably just guarantee the aristocrats stay in power, but it gets rid of autocracy, which does massively increase legitimacy penalties and greatly strengthens aristocrats. Although, since we're still on hereditary bureaucrats, it does mean we do have aristocrats that support the intelligentsia. About 27,000 compared to 75,000. Okay, that is quite a difference still. We could switch to an early racial segregation run, just so we're not discriminating against certain pops. We could switch to appointed. That would actually help, because we wouldn't have to recruit aristocrats anymore. But that's probably not the wisest solution. They're at 50%? Dang. Could try to end serfdom. That is a decent chance now. It's near 20%. But removing the political cloud of the aristocrats could be the wisest. I just don't know. Because the moment we switch off hereditary, the aristocrats no longer support the intelligentsia as much. But landed voting might keep them in charge. If we go for wealth voting, that's gonna have some significant resistance. Landed voting is probably our best bet. I think we go for an early landed voting strategy. Just so we don't have to worry about autocracy nuking us. Because once the gentry's clout falls, the gentry assembly here, it's going to be very hard to maintain a government, because ideological incompatibility. We've already fallen below 50 again. Hopefully it'll go back up pretty quick, though, and we'll be fine. Yeah, it looks like it's bouncing between 49 and 50, so I think we'll be okay if we push for it now. That's just what we're going to do, is just push for it now. We'll blame the locals. Guess who doesn't blame the locals, I guess. Maybe 2 of these in perm as well, just to boost the iron costs there. The investment pool is still keeping up, although it's primarily the landowners that are investing right now. At least they're using it for something. Well, they're investing in coal mines. That's unusual. I'm not using coal yet. It does promote a gentry assembly person, but we'll actually do that just to garner favor from them. Does anyone want to join the power block yet? No, but we could probably swindle Greece. Could actually get investment rights in Greece, so we will take that. Patronized Romanticism is done thanks to our gentry, actually, so we can get a bit of technology from that. Our construction also ran out temporarily, which is fine, because we are actually going to... I'd say Kharkiv, it has a lot of people. And Kiev, because it has a lot of people. That way we no longer have to rely on imports for our tools. And in fact, I did forget to go through this, didn't I? To activate a few of these. You don't want to edit the butchering workshops yet. I did forget, in fact, to switch the rye farms over to making liquor. And then switch the food industries over to just pure groceries. That is a mistake that I have done and now corrected. So we'll see how that goes. We're spending a lot of money now, though, which could be a problem. Could raise the transportation tax, but we're really kind of waiting until landed voting gets done here, 'cause otherwise we'll be below accepted. Or contested, really. And we'll just kind of get more of these iron mines going here and there. And if I remember right, now that the bureaucratic problems are mostly resolved, there are some states to start incorporating, just because unincorporated states suffer a minus 10% to mapping. That is more states than I meant to do, but that's okay. We'll just kind of get things rolling over here. Ooh, the lathe is unlocked, so we can at least reduce clothing prices a bit by using the newfound dye from Persia. And the atmospheric engine is now actually spreading to us, which is fantastic. And make it a bit easier to get that rolling. So we might actually go ahead and queue up. Oh. Intelligentsia is led by a moderate now. That's fine. But we're actually going to go ahead and queue up a few coal mines just in random areas. Kind of have that ready to go. I don't want to build too many in one spot because we might not have enough qualifications for it all. Our debt is skyrocketing now, though, because of the bureaucratic problems. Looks like iron is the actual expenditure issue. So we'll knock that down. We will add, just because it will take time otherwise, a couple of the government administration, get that done. We did... Ooh, it's taking 6 years, right, because our cohesion is a lot lower due to relations and leader... right, our legitimacy matters a lot in these power blocks. In that case, we're actually going to grab Creative Legislature 2 to weaken, preserve, and restore movements. And since it's our primary principle, that will actually increase cohesion by 10 and push it back to controlled. But that's going to drop the stall chance a bit, because preserve autocracy is now down to 7.8 from, I think it was about 12. That will help slightly. It won't help too much. But it's going to help make it less painful for us. And that's all we need, is for it to be less painful. Ah, excellent. That event just barely pushes the industrialists into existing. So now they're going to give us a production research speed and some investment efficiency. Although it's mainly the, who are they called again? The landowners that are investing. But we at least have them to start off with. Ooh, can we decrease Persia's autonomy already? Fantastic. Then we will do exactly that. And now they're paying us how much? 6.3k a week? That is better than nothing. It is a lot more than nothing. That will partially supplement our dying income. Ottomans are going to war against Egypt. Austria has actually sided with Egypt, so this might not need our intervention, but we're going to intervene anyway. Can I... Ooh, conquer Dobruja. That's not really worth much on its own, but it does kind of cause us to border Moldavia and Wallachia. There's nothing too valuable. We could seize Eastern Thrace as well for the heck of it, just because Third Rome. Technically buffs the Orthodox Church, though. So not something I'm keen on seizing right away. Maybe we just seize Dobruja, just to have that extra coastline, that extra port. Could start our own separate war alternatively, especially because we... You know what? Yes, we will start our own separate war against the Ottomans, now that we know this is going on, to yoink their subjects. Because we know Austria is not going to join once the Ottomans take over right away. So we'll do that, and it's actually the Ottomans, so Austria can't join. And then we'll demand Wallachia as well. And do we want to take another subject? We could seize Serbia, just kind of go for the triple here. I would love to seize Tunis, because it does have a fair, decent bit of value. It has cotton and sugar, and then sulfur, and sulfur's always an issue. In fact, why don't we... Well, if we seize too much, they might just back down. That's an issue. You know what? We could just go for broke. We could just go for broke and try to seize all their subjects. Why not? And then I think we'll just leave it like that. Hopefully they stay confident, but we will mobilize... I was going to say the whole army, but one, that's going to be expensive. Maybe we shouldn't. Also, two, they're going to be split in a multi-front war, so we probably don't need to mobilize the whole army. We just have to take their capital. Landed voting is struggling a little bit, but hopefully it won't be struggling for long. We actually do need to queue up the Navy expansion later, but I don't want to have that queued up right away. Austrians and the Ottomans have gone to rivalry as well. And it does look like I'm going to want to mobilize at least 2 more divisions so we can end this quickly, because I don't know what Austria is trying to go for in the war. They are trying to transfer Tripolitania themselves, so we actually do need to mobilize a lot of our troops then to end this fast. Because if we don't end it fast, then they could actually seize it for themselves, which would be a problem. We actually should only have 1 admiral in this, so the admiral uses all the ships together in any fights, but since it's the Ottomans, I'm not expecting to really lose any naval engagements. But we are going to have to naval invade Constantinople here, or Istanbul, whichever you want to call it. Ooh, random market liberal agitator from the industrialists. Very nice. He is for the industrialists, so it's not going to be too helpful, but it is neat. Would have been better if he was for the landowners, but that would have been asking for too much, I think. We are about to get the atmospheric engine, actually, so what we do need to do, because it will help us a lot, is start getting some of the coal mines running. We do have a coal mine, but I don't think it's recruiting because it can't find demand. So we'll go ahead and just try to pay for it there. Okay, we do have access to Constantinople already, which is good, because now we should beat the Ottoman Empire before the Ottoman Empire beats us, or before Egypt beats them. But we do need to maintain the hold on Constantinople for that to happen. There it is. And we are just going to push straight to railways, because we're going to need those pretty soon. Not, like, right away soon, but the sooner we have them, the better. And I would love to get schools, but we can't pass any schools until serfdom's gone, or state religion, whichever comes first. That one coal mine will make an atmospheric engine use out of it. Then we need to kind of... Actually, you know what we could do? It's risky, but let's just switch everything over. And then we will just import coal from Prussia, and I know France tends to have coal in Austria. These will be temporary imports, but the idea here is we'll just import our way. I mean, we don't have convoys right now due to the supply routes that we're having to run. But once we have them, we should be able to just pay off enough of the coal until we have our own coal mines running. That will then allow us to make a lot more iron. It's already dropped the price of iron quite a bit, actually. But it is going to hurt a bit until we have coal. Then the Ottoman Empire is falling. They should be falling faster for us than they are falling in the other. Ivan Romanov has been born. Traditionalist. He probably won't matter. The Tsardom will probably cease to exist before then. Desperate allies? Who can we boost here? Well, the industrialists getting a boost is not bad. I want them to be in the elections, because the capitalists could end up voting. We are technically losing on one front of the war, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. We can just go ahead and lose over there. Then let's switch over to gas streetlights, which use coal to provide services and infrastructure. Do we have lead? We have a lead mine. Let's just... Oh, that's not my lead mine. That's in a subject. So that's why I can't interact with it. That makes sense. In hindsight, I should have added war reps to this as well, but I didn't want them to just surrender to us immediately. Yep, so we're probably going to have to fully occupy them here. But since we own the capital, ideally, because if I go here... Yeah, they need to do regime change. Regime change requires them to own the capital, and they can't seize the capital because we've already seized it. We already own it. We're in 42. We are kind of running a deficit, but since we've got a lot more iron, let's get a lot more construction going. The investment pool can handle some. We can probably raise taxes soonish if landed voting passes, and if not, the war should be over by then. And this is what having that professional army is very good for, because our units are getting that -10 morale loss instead of +10. And there we go. The Ottomans have capitulated, and we have now seized all of their subjects. Technically, Egypt is still occupying Tripolitania, but that's fine. We'll deal with it. But they are now all a part of the Russian imperialism power block, which is a terrible name that we should change later. We should definitely change that name later. I am all for changing it. And the good news is that by adding some of them, let's see, like the unrecognized regional power, I believe that would be Tunis, right? This is Tripolitania. Yep, Tunis counts. And then I think the minor powers count for one each? I'm not sure. I don't think they do they? No, they do. They do. Minor members count. So by getting all of those subjects in here, we effectively give us, what, +6, +2? We got +8 to mandate progress per week, which is fantastic. Because that means we can get these mandates up and running a lot sooner. Okay, so the coal mines should be running fine now. We probably don't need to import as much. In fact, the imports should be going down. We are going to need more tools now that we're using the atmospheric engine, but we should have plenty of iron. In fact, our iron trade routes can probably be canceled at this point, as well as the coal trade routes. I'll actually leave the silk one open in case it grows. But yeah, we could stop importing iron. We'll probably keep importing tools just because that way we have enough tools to run everything without an issue. Our deficit's not too bad at the moment. It's actually doing surprisingly well. And there is landed voting. Two parties have formed, the Octobrists and the Cadets. Now, if we leave things as they are, what does the election look like? 66 to 33. Now, see, the problem is that if we toss everyone else into the gentry assembly, but get the industrialists into the intelligentsia, there's a very good chance that what we see here is a massive change and shift. But in the interest of running a government that's not going to just cave into itself, and also because the petite bourgeoisie now exists thanks to this, and we could maybe use them for a few changes, because they are actually pro-land reform right now, because they are led by a land reformer, we'll go ahead and combine them for now. That is going to change the math here as expected, but the Orthodox Church is no longer murdering our literacy rate, so that's nice. Greece wants a defense pact. That's not really in our interests. It would let us yoink them into the power block. It means we can't make them a subject, but if they have a civil war later, which they probably will, we could probably use that then. Also, regime change in the Ottoman Empire, what would that do? They can't take Tripolitania, though. That is invalidated. It would just impose freedom of conscience onto the Ottoman Empire. Interesting. Okay. Not against that. Not for it either. It's just a little, neat thing for us to see. Since our budget is only a slight deficit... Oh, wait, that's only a +4 in infrastructure. Because these do use, what, 2 each, I believe? Yeah, infrastructure usage is 2. So we'll probably just put a bunch of 1s down, bump it up a little more, get things rolling faster. Oh, he's a Republican, but he already wants to leave? Well, that's fine. Ooh, Brazilian revolt. Don't know if we can use that to our advantage. We'll have to wait for it to tick over and see. Let's see. Oh, do they become a... no, that's the wrong side. Oh, that's unfortunate. Their desire to be a subject is very, very low. Yeah, might be able to make them like us. The US is pretty up there right now. I could drop that. What if we guarantee your independence? Does that cause you to change your opinion relatively soon? No, but some events appeared and disappeared. Cadets Party +10. That's good. We want that. We could... you know what? Yes. Actually, we're not making much paper. Let's use that to make the intelligentsia like us a bit more. But also because it is a good idea to actually lower our paper costs. We'll try to make home paper later, but we'll use that idea for now. Let's see. Okay, yes. So the industrialists joined this, so we're really going to have to make sure Prussia doesn't hate us. But 20% momentum to the cadets, that's very good. They're still going to be well behind it all, but they won't be as behind. Okay, so if I can't get the revolt to side with us, we could get the Amazon from... Oh, they would be cut off. We'd have to seize another state. Let's wait a bit longer. They might flip. One of them might flip. I don't think either of them will, though. Okay, neither of them are going to flip, so... It looks like the religious revolt's more likely to win. We could pick a side, so to speak. Hope that side wins. We could also just ignore the whole fight to begin with and do nothing. We could technically seize the Amazon with this. Technically has rubber. Would be cut off and useless to us, but we could use that as a reasonable excuse, or not so reasonable excuse, to invade Bolivia and seize that as a subject. It's not the best idea, but then we'd have some guaranteed rubber that we own as a directly controlled territory. 20 rubber later on would help a lot. Plus, if the religious revolt wins, it will probably like us. It might stay as a minor power. It might not. What are they enforcing, actually? A theocracy? And a dedicated police force. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, wait, no. We'd be siding with Brazil itself. You know what? That's fine. Let's just see if they accept it in time. They do, and it's actually at the last second. We can actually not win this. If we lose this, we would still get the territory. But if we lose this and the revolting side wins, then obviously the revolting side is going to be strongly oppositionist towards us for a short while. Because, you know, we fought a war against them and all that. Is this for the cadets? Fantastic. So the cadets aren't going to lose that badly. They're still going to lose this election by a landslide. It's just not going to be as bad. And it's going to spike our expenditure, though. Ooh! Hang on. Yes, minus 20 to the Octoberists. Still not going to be great, but it's going to be a lot better than expected. Let's see what it looks like now. Is that just kind of roughly equal? Can't really get them into government, but maybe they can agitate for something. And now that we see where everything lies, we could try to end serfdom. The problem is that it's going to have a very high stall chance, which is not good. Appointed bureaucrats? No, the chance is even lower. Per capita taxation? Maybe. It would squeeze a little money out. Let's just do a Hail Mary. We'll just try to end serfdom. It probably won't succeed. It'll probably fail, but we'll just give it a try. You never know. We are knocking down the stall chance to just below 40 instead of it being almost 60. So we've got a shot. It's just probably going to fail. Foreign investment rights agreement with France. Would France agree to that? I mean, it pushes them close, but we're infamous, and then there's a bit of clout issues going on both ways. Offer them custodianship. Apparently that's going to hurt the gentry a little. That's fine by me. Far be it from me to keep the gentry together. Okay, maybe someone in one of the naval fleets? Not really. Can I roll for a different one? A moderate? That doesn't really help us still. Looks like Brazil's going to win this handedly now. We can actually go ahead and start demobilizing some of the troops. Just to lower on costs. And we do own the Amazons now. It does take 20 years to incorporate, so we're just going to start it now. Hope it doesn't revolt against us, because that would hurt if it does. Ooh, plus 15. Let's take that. 30% success chance. That's not going to reduce the stall chance at all. But it is going to make this less painful for us, which is something we can utilize. There is a Polish immigration going on now, which is fine. And you know what? Are we at righteous government? We are. I kind of want to sit on that for now to see if this passes or fails, but otherwise we're probably going to raise taxes pretty soon here. Hmm, 13. Chile, Ecuador, and Argentina might join. Ecuador could join. The main issue is just getting a foothold. Once we have a foothold, we're fine. Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll for it. We've got 41 ships. It should be fine, but we'll get 2 units going. I don't think we have a contact line there, do we? No, of course not. That makes sense. We'll get 2 armies mobilized. That should be enough to fight them. What is their main army like? It has too many cavalry units. Excellent. That's good. That means it'll be weak. The Lancers won't fight very well, and even if they do, they're going to have organizational penalties because there's just too many of them. And that's going to nerf their recovery, their offense, or defense. Ooh, free university. Really should get more universities since we're in 1844. That would be really helpful for us. But we are also fighting a lot of wars back to back. And so what we're going to actually do here, let's see, you're the 5th and the 3rd, is 2 separate naval invasions side by side. But we're actually going to naval invade there to fight the garrison rather than... Ooh, random positivist in the intelligentsia. Anyway, we're naval invading South Peru instead of Bolivia to just try to land there. And we could have added more war goals. Probably should have thought of that. But we're just going to kind of go in, minimize our illegitimacy, knock Bolivia down, and come home as winners, I guess. Tenant farming is really close to passing. It's also really close to failing. Water tube boiler. Oh, we did it a bit too quick. Couldn't use it for the railways. That's fine. We'll just queue up the boiler then. And in fact, just so we have it, kind of pop those up there. Just so we have those. And we'll actually raise some more taxes just to slow down the rise on our deficit spending so it doesn't drown us too much. We are positive on bureaucracy now, which is fantastic. Our cohesion is very good too. Ooh, a 4th stall chance would be nice. Construction, let's look though. Like construction, 10% state efficiency construction is always good. Food standardization isn't bad. Market unification has its place. And we can actually invite Greece in. Although, would that be a good idea because of the cohesion drop from independent members? Maybe not. Maybe we leave it out for now. If we get that, we get the +10 cohesion, don't we? That keeps us orchestrated. Yeah, you know what? Let's grab that, because now we'll have an additional setback we can spend. That might actually help us on this law. Keyword is might. I don't know if it will. It does entirely depend on how the laws roll. Okay, so... did one of them teleport back home? They did. That is unexpected and very unfortunate. Border Fortress raided. Let's blame them. Okay. We'll just wait for reinforcements to arrive. Should be fine. Defections. Those keep happening. How is coal price doing? It's high, so we'll let those build. I want to get more construction going. It's going to be a little risky because we could end up in a position where we can't, pay for everything. But we're going to raise taxes as soon as tenant farming either passes or collapses. Whichever comes first. But it looks like this is going to go off without a hitch. We are going to get Bolivia as a subject, making Peru an indirect subject. And that will give us access to the Amazons up here. Even though there's technically impassable terrain, it will work for a connection point. Public address goes awry. That's fine. We can afford the additional setback now. So we can at least take a risk. They have found more gold, so that's always good. More gold. In fact... no, we won't queue up the gold mines. We'll get those later. We do have the extra bureaucracy, though. And since we do, let's kind of start incorporating all these territories. Since that will take time, it'll make it easier to utilize them. Because they do suffer a minus 10% to market access price impact if they're not incorporated. Okay, will Bolivia surrender now? Yes. There we go. And now... this is completely connected. So what happens now is the Bolivia-Peru Confederation collapses, and the Peruvian subjects just form Peru together. They are a subject of Bolivia, but that should be fine. We shouldn't really have any issues with that. Can I grant them a state? Really? What state could I even grant? Oh, that's funny. I can grant them their subject stuff. That's... interesting. If I wanted to just recombine it into a big subject, I could... that's interesting. Okay. Also weird. Not something we're going to look into doing. Let's see. We actually don't need this many ports right away. We could actually cancel these ports and do them later. I was going to expand them because of the overseas stuff we were doing. But a lot of our import routes have kind of shrunk down now. We don't need as many. We can actually cancel some of them too. We can actually cancel the Belgium route for that. Sure. You know what? We're actually below righteous government, so let's just go ahead and raise taxes. That will slow down the drop here. And allow us to just kind of put some more down to get things going faster. And then we're going to get a bunch of those universities going, get the railway research going a lot faster. Thankfully, we already start with a couple as Russia, but we're going to need a ton more if we want to get anywhere else. And our investment pool is being fully utilized. It doesn't construct as much as we do, but it is doing some construction here and there. It's investing into certain things like iron mines. So it's got its uses. And although we can't really utilize them yet, we're actually going to build a couple of these rye farms up here for two reasons. One, to make a bit more liquor and a bit more grain since the price is going up. But the main reason is to just take some of these peasants and force them into better lives. Because worker peasants demand far less goods than regular workers. Like, this is a group of 2.62 million demanding 35 grain. If we were to take that and apply it to, say, what is a decently sized building? Decently sized group. Say, this group of 134,000 laborers, they're demanding 43 grain. This group is a lot smaller, much smaller, and yet it is demanding more grain than these peasants are. Even though it's a small fraction of the group. So the idea there is that will let us drive up demand for goods, which maybe we don't need. Clothing prices are already very, very expensive, but we got to generate demand somewhere. Might as well generate it from the peasantry, as they wonder why they're starving because there's no food. When can we do this? 46. Then we can take more money from Persia to use for our own endeavors. Could actually pass, like, National Guard or something now, and we have the bureaucracy for it. Oh, so... We might actually fail this. I'm gonna take that and just roll on the stall chance and hope the 10% passes, but we might actually fail this. Yeah, we might actually fail to pass 10 at farming on the last chance, which is unfortunate, but that extra setback that we have is giving us the opportunity to try it one more time. Debate success chance, okay. So we're at a 20% chance of success now. We're going to kind of ignore some of those. Highest fiction deactivated, that's good. Might help our literacy, which has just been stuck. That was a reformer for the Navy that died. Does anyone need a new ship now? They do. They do. Actually, what are you? Are you... Yeah, we'll just promote you then, because you're not a part of the land... of the gentry. Appointed bureaucrats? Yeah, we'll probably do appointed bureaucrats next. Anti-Ottoman League? That's fine. That'll make them happy. Ooh, right, because they might either lose prestige for 5 years or gain infamy. I don't think they'll take the infamy. They do get a choice. Although forcing Britain to take infamy sounds funny. But I think they're going to take the prestige loss. If it rolls at all, it might not even appear for them. I don't know how that works. Ooh, is that uncertain military loyalties? Really? Are they undergoing a coup? Oh yeah, the landowners are powerful. The landowners are powerful and upset. They might be undergoing a coup attempt in the US, Britain right now. But did the US have its usual coup? No, not yet. Usually the US suffers a coup from the landowners and they just end democracy. Not this time. So far. So far it has not happened. Righty, let's see where this goes here. Ah, stall chance. Yep, so this is probably going to fail. Unless we get lucky with a 5% dice roll, that's going to fail, which is unfortunate because we need to get off serfdom to modernize better, and as long as we're in serfdom. What is going on here? Oh, Britain is making Circassia a protectorate. Although Circassia enjoys some various benefits, I think, right? Oh, no. Oh, that's a journal entry buff, so we can't exactly see it from our end. Not yet, at least. We could actually be selling these buildings, and the main reason why I haven't is because it didn't want to enrich the landowners too much, because they can actually buy the iron mines, but we'll see. We might sell some, we might not. It depends on how things go. Oh, we made these new rye farms, but the grain prices actually increased to +10. How funny. Oh, they actually went up a couple levels, too. From 6. Interesting. That's good to know. In fact, let's build another 20 then. Why not? Ah, yep, there it is. Debate fail. Is it going to fire the event? It's not that one. The legislative failure. Yep, so that's done. In that case, we'll just go ahead and do the appointed bureaucrats, because that has a much higher chance to pass. That is unfortunate. I was hoping to get us off of... We'll just do very high taxes as well. I was hoping to get us off of serfdom in the 1840s. That would have been really good, because then we could have pushed for... Religious schools would have been a risk, but it would still would have helped our literacy. But we didn't get it, so we'll just move on. What do we want? We can always switch it out later. I'm kind of thinking construction 1 just to build a little faster, because the more construction we have, the faster we can modernize. Food standardization is never bad. Once you get to level 2, it drops mortality, and right now we're barely growing. Although I guess our issue is we have peasants we need to employ. We've actually lost pops. Wow, we've been very stagnant this game. Advanced research would be useful if we had the education system, but we don't, so it's not useful right now at all. Technically, freedom of movement would help, but we don't have the standard of living to attract pops, and market unification is nice, but we don't have the companies, so it's either... In my opinion, at the moment, it's either food standardization to get more pops or construction 1. But I think what we'll do is we'll do construction 1 for the state construction efficiency, and then do food standardization for the pops. That way we're going to build a little faster, because what happens is instead of using 42 construction, I think that's what it is at now, right? Yep. It's going to, instead of using 24.2 construction, it's going to use 22.1 construction on these now. And that's in the entire power block, so it's in our subjects too. So now I can start spending some of it on some additional constructions that weren't even started. It's just a little bit, it's not much, but it is free construction. It's construction we don't have to pay for. It's not much, but it helps. It's every little bit that we can get. Ooh, novel solution. I think, yes, the third one gives us permanent authority bonus for the rest of the game. So we will just take that, add another tax on. So we are going to have to fight Britain for Circassia, unfortunately. That is annoying, but it's not the end of the world, because they've made a lot of enemies, as Britain does. 30 to the cadets, yes please. Because that's actually going to help them a lot. We have some mass migrations going on, but that's not much of a problem. Yeah, sure. Ah, oh, he just got replaced by another land reformer. Okay. The intelligentsia leave? That's fine. I don't mind them leaving that. We're not really utilizing it. Maybe we'd utilize it later, but not right now. What is a lot of infrastructure that we could utilize? Actually, you know what we need to do? I just remembered, is that we really should get a few steel mills running, switch our tools over, and have that set up for motor industries. Ooh, Russian mass migration to Virginia. That I didn't expect. We were... Ooh, did we, like, just barely go over it? Because 15 is the... Oh, that's unfortunate. A Republican? No, that would actually hurt. So that is going to cause a bunch of immigration for us, which is probably going to drop our population a bit, but that is fine. We'll grab them later. I'm actually surprised how poor our standard of living is, but considering the taxes and the food prices, I really shouldn't be surprised. We could import grain, but I'm just choosing not to. It'll be fine. Speaking of which, I did totally forget to do this. Because now that'll make this our direct subject. That will make them pay us more. Baltic Governorate. We don't need to annex them right away. I actually want to keep them around a little bit more. Just to squeeze some mandate progress out. Although I think they aren't giving us much. A stall chance. Enacting success chance but a setback? I'll take it. They're getting weaker, they're getting stronger, so we might be able to use that to our advantage at least. Alrighty. We're not doing too bad. I do keep forgetting about my constructions here and there. That's not unusual. We're actually very close to the railroads, so what we're going to do is build 2 motor industries as well, just so they're ready, and subsidize them. It won't be much, at least not right away, but we can at least do some initial subsidization, keep it ready, keep it going. Is there any, like... Yeah, we can build up some granaries here, some rye farms. It will have a various effect, but it should be fine. So we're still on serfdom right now, so any of the serfs that are no longer serfs will actually benefit. Go up in standard of living a little. 20% success chance, we'll just take that. And now we have railroads, which is good, because we need railroads, badly. Everything is still constructing at a good pace. We'll just get those few started first, just to buff that, and then get the rest rolling. The Orthodox are actually giving us a birth rate, so the birth rate will finally recover as the population falls. So, sometimes you have to lose a bunch of your people to get a bunch of your people. It doesn't make any sense, don't worry. Use the opportunity to train replacements because we can afford the cost. We're not getting the best rolls that we could be getting. Is this against the Sind? Okay, so we can ignore it. It's not against any of our subjects. If it was against a subject, I'd be concerned, but it's not, so we'll just ignore it. There is the Kazakh Revolt, so we are going to rally the loyal sultans to crush it. It does also mean that our subjects here are going to get annexed, but that's fine. A movement to help enact racial segregation from national militia. That's probably something we'll move towards next, so we stop discriminating against the European cultures, like Polish. We are going to get appointed bureaucrats here, so that should make it easier to recruit bureaucrats, because we won't need the aristocrats anymore. Might hurt the intelligentsia, but it does also mean less aristocrats exist, so we'll see what kind of effect it has on the social fabric of the country. We really do need to get literacy up, but that's not going to happen until we have schools. Or a better standard of living, but I don't think the latter is going to happen for a while. Although, now that we can use fertilizers, we got a few things to do here. First, level 10 fertilizer, railroads, sulfur mines with atmospheric engine. The steel should be up and running now, so we can switch to the tooling workshops over to using steel. Which actually bumped up the price too much, more than I expected. But that's fine. Appointed bureaucrats, that's actually going to help our taxation capacity issues. And moving to per capita would help us at this point. I mean, it always helps us, really. But let's go for racial segregation really quick, because it will pass. It won't be too difficult to pass it. And like I said, it'll make people like the Polish no longer discriminated. They'll gain qualifications faster. And we'll stop having turmoil problems there. It also means we could end up getting migrations of Europeans to the country. Like, say, from the US, where our pops went. Some of them. Not too many, thankfully, but, you know, some of them did, which is unfortunate. But it is merely a temporary and small setback that we will deal with in good time. In good time. All the railways up, though. We don't have that many issues now when it comes to running everything. Really quick, I think I forgot to upgrade the army at the start, didn't I? Because I think, yeah, upgrade all units, because a lot of them are probably not. Oh, no, I shouldn't have hit that button. I didn't realize we had unlocked skirmish infantry. I wasn't paying attention. Because I don't think I can make ammo yet, can I? Nope. Okay, so quick lesson there. Don't start, you know, upgrading all your line infantry to skirmishers right away when you forget that you can't make ammo, because now we have to go through and turn that off one by one, because if we have no ammo, they're not going to be as effective. We could try to import all of it, but, you know, that's probably going to be very expensive and very unwise. Do have to recruit a general, though, which will be a... Yep. I guess the pacifist, then. Not giving me a lot of good options there. We'll take the claims. We'll annex it. Do we have to incorporate it? Some of it, so we might as well. We do have a deficit in bureaucracy again. That is not a surprise. Honestly, that was to be expected. Actually, should be getting them up in those areas. Interest rates are rising, but I think the investment pool is covering half of construction again. It is. Barely, but it is. So that's fine enough. Make Tunis a dominion. That's going to give us a little more money. Not a lot, but, you know, need to give us something. Oh, are the Ottomans going in again? They are. They lost the last war. Could actually join this ourselves. Ooh, Basra's not a bad conqueror. It would make the map look a little weird, but it does have sulfur, and later on it does gain access to oil, which would be very helpful. We're probably going to have to import sulfur like everything else, though. Trying to see... I think what we really need to do is drop paper prices. What are they at right now? Expensive. Yep, that's what I thought. So... switch these all to steel tools, because I see we got some new buildings now. Just kind of switch those over. Switch the paper mills over to use sulfur, and then probably set up a few import routes for sulfur from people we don't expect to be fighting. That'll at least make things a tad safer for us. We'll actually improve relations with Brazil, so the next time they have a civil war, we can maybe convince them to side with us. I don't think they will, but you never know. We'll actually improve relations with the new Bolivian subject just so we can utilize it. And there's the water tube boiler. That is going to be very, very useful. that is going to drop prices even more. In fact, it might drop prices a bit too much in some areas, but that's fine by me. If it makes it cheaper for us to build, then it's just easier for us to build. And then I guess we'll switch our glass over to lead usage, since we do actually have access to some degree. Loveland. Oh yeah, that is actually one of our states. I'm still getting used to some of the state renaming in 1.7. So racial segregation should pass just fine, and then we'll see what the positivist tries to support next. These movements he's supporting is helping, at least. Amicable with the U.S.? We'll probably form a trade agreement with, just to temporarily use them later. The Russian Free Trade Society. Sure, why not? Diplomatic play against the Ottomans, we could do that. And we did actually kind of stay out of the war just because we're probably going to focus on balancing our budget here really quick while we still have a few infamy to let tick down. There we go. So anyone that now has the European heritage is no longer discriminated against. And now he's doing a movement for total separation. That is really risky because the Orthodoxy would greatly oppose it. But if we did get off state religion, that would help a ton. Getting off state religion would cripple the church, and it would let us get private schools. Public schools requires serfdom and state religion to both be gone, and we're not really in a position to get either. Oh, I really would love to change our tax laws, though. But you know what? It's only the church that would oppose it. Let's take the risk. And if they get angry, they should end up leaving government. And since they're not the strongest interest group, they should actually lose clout. They'll form an opposition movement against it, but, you know, we also have measures to weaken that. Okay, now that it's all up and running, how does it look? 542. What if we switch the rye farms? What are we looking at then? Pretty high, but it should be able to hire more people with ease then. Well, I guess no, it needs people who know how to work machines. Pressure the Orthodox Church into cooperating. You know, cooperating and ending the religion of state. Sure, game. That's going to at least drop grain prices, though. And does that... Not on its own, it doesn't help. So there it is. As it noted, they have resigned from government because they're angry. And they actually lost a couple points of clout because of that. And the movement they're trying to use to preserve is no longer radicalizing. We could actually pop them back in if we wanted to, but there's no point in doing that. We are running a good surplus now, actually. So, let's encourage a few more construction sectors. Government dividends are rising, which is nice. We do spend bureaucracy on that, but that's okay. Total separation has moved forward by 1 point. We might actually end state religion. Fertilizers are still very expensive. It should slowly calm down as time goes on. But something else we're going to build a lot of now is some paper mills in various high-populated states. Because we're going to need to knock paper prices down, and even if the paper prices fall too much, we can export it to other places like Qing, which always needs more paper. So that'll be very good for us. I do kind of want to invade Sweden and make them a protectorate now that we don't have infamy. Who would side with them? Prussia. Prussia would side with them. Britain would probably side with them. Britain would be an issue. What are the Ottomans? Major power? Might temporarily fall to minor power. Oh, they will fall to minor power. They just got humiliated. So if we wait a few months, I don't know if we could easily yoink them. We might have to wait till they get the dead man of Europe to roll. See, let's do you first, and then you, so now they'll both pay us something. Okay, we really should spend our infamy now. I've been kind of holding out on it because it was still ticking down, but we kind of need to spend it on something now at this point. Brazil has become a minor power, but I don't know for how long. They could tick right back up. We could try to pressure them into just surrendering right away. No, -3. It's almost guaranteed Britain would join them then. There's no point in risking it. We just have an issue where Britain would join, and we'd have to fight Britain, and that's not worth it then. Did we gain a new... Okay, so we did gain a new mandate a couple of months ago, and I didn't even notice it. That is not really unfortunate, but it is kind of one of those, oh, I should have realized it, and oh well. Construction 2 would knock down the infrastructure usage, but we noted that we were going to grab food standardization. The first one will help our agriculture a bit. We want the level 2 to knock down mortality, though. That would let us start squeezing out a lot more people, get things rolling. But I won't say no to the improved rye farms, which will improve their weekly balance as soon as we solve the whole fertilizer issue. In fact, if we switch the livestock ranches over a bit... Okay, maybe not using tools, because that's just going to bankrupt them at the moment. And if we import fertilizer, the Prussians and the Americans both have trade agreements with us, so they're the best option to import from. It's going to be another one of those things where we're going to import it to keep the price down, so that way these will run fine. And then later on, we'll probably just make a bunch of our own and sell it. We do need clothes, but more importantly... Now that the Polish are no longer being discriminated, let's actually build them up a bit. And make sure there's some things here. Yeah, at this rate, we should get off total separation. That'll be very useful for us, because then the orthodoxy can be massively weakened. And what I'm trying to think of from there... What can we do then? We can, if I remember correctly, switch a lot of the clergy out of the buildings and replace them with bureaucrats, which... I find the button here. It's not going to be perfectly accurate, but each one is 1,000, so that's going to be, what, 11,000 working clergymen there. 250 here, so that's not as much, but every, what, 4 is 1,000, so at least almost 20,000. So we knock out almost 30,000 working clergymen, which is about 15% of their total workforce. Which is very good. That 15% would no longer be supporting them in the elections. So leadership play could easily ignore it. But I like to use this. We could use this to seize Silesia. Silesia? Probably Silesia is how you pronounce it. It would be very useful. We're not discriminating against the Germans there anymore, and it has a ton of mining potential. It is very useful. Plus rye farms that we could use. So I think, yeah, we will join this on Austria's side, which it does mean that our trade routes with Prussia are going to suffer. That is true. So this is going to hurt us. But gaining all of that raw resource for ourselves is going to be very useful in the long run. We probably don't need to mobilize our full army, but we'll mobilize about 2/3 of it. That way we kind of do a mixture of balancing the budget. Oh! Chat! Not chat. I'm not talking to anyone but myself. Apparently I forgot to do the technology tree when we got the water tube boiler. I don't know how long this has been ticking. It's probably been a good couple of years. That at least means that our tech spread's been going, but that is terrible. I've never forgotten to research before. That's the first time in an extremely long while that I have forgotten to do research. That is going to hurt us a lot, actually. Because we don't have that extra technology that we would be utilizing. So we're going to have to build a bunch of these universities to play catch up then. As soon as the construction sectors are done, of course. Dang! It must have been a good couple of years. I want to say at least 3 to 4 years that I didn't notice that. That is really unfortunate. I've never done that before. Oof, I feel so bad in forgetting that. And yet it's almost never happened. But I guess that's what happens when you're paying attention to a lot of different things. You start to forget. So 0.14% pop growth. 0.61. There we go. And almost jumped it up by 0.5. That's going to get us a lot more people per month. And there it is. Total separation. So we've had some bad moments here. We've had some good moments. Nope. Keep him around. He'll be very useful. Oof, so that does kind of suck. That does kind of hurt. But we're just going to have to roll with it and deal with it. I wish you were pushing for something other than the Presidential Republic. But yeah, the clout of the Orthodox Church is already falling. And the pops that switched over to being bureaucrats instead of clergymen will need time to readjust their priorities. Because right now, a lot of them are actually supporting the Orthodox Church, even though the attraction is only 3%. So once that shifts over time, they should become a lot weaker. Okay, the Ottomans are now a minor power. Oh, 120. That's not worth it then. Let's take the paper mill bonus so we don't boost the orthodoxy there. I'm like so upset with myself that I forgot to do technologies. I'm just so aghast and upset with myself in forgetting that. But I guess you can't have good things without bad things. In this case, the bad thing is me forgetting to do research so we don't lose everything. Or at least don't fall behind. So yeah, we're just gonna university spam here a bit. Plus 30 to the cadets is something we definitely want. And as you can see here, because there's now less aristocrats and less clergymen voting, there are less votes to go around, but it did actually close the gap between the two parties. Though it also helps that the orthodoxy is no longer part of them at the moment. It does help a lot. We are winning that fight, yes. We are winning those fights. So that should be fine. So they have won the election again, but now it's a lot closer. They're still kind of in power, but not as in power. What could we... Oh, right. We could actually change the various laws here. There's no anti-serfdom movement, which I really wish we had one. Oh, you know what? Can I can't exile you. Maybe we should temporarily... Can I not put them both in power? Oh, because it's 0. Let's do a temporary switch like that. We're going to put the positivist in charge to free up an agitator slot and see if there's an agitator we can invite. I don't think there is. Ooh, no. There are some agitators we can invite. Ooh. Market? Ooh. Oh, no, wait. Ah, dang it. Market liberal for the gentry. We could have put him in charge and then just kicked ourselves straight off serfdom. If I had exiled the guy. But instead of exiling him, I put him in charge of the cadets party, so now I can't use him for 5 years, but... Whatever. We'll pull him in anyway, so he's there. Just so we have him. Does put the orthodoxy back into government, but they're going to be weaker permanently. Ah, Krakatoa. How nice. And by nice, I mean not nice, because Krakatoa is just painful. Alright, well, we're going to be a little behind on technology. That sucks. I keep raving about it, and Prussia is beaten to a pulp, at least. They're going to get humiliated, too, and this is how much of their GDP? 15%, so Prussia will suffer a lot from that. Oh, yeah, no reason not to buff Persia. That's Persia asking for some military assistance from their unique journal entries. There is no reason for us to say no, because they are our subject. We have every reason to say yes, and not a single reason to say no. Academic bonus is nice. GDP is rising. Ah, the Taiping Rebellion. That is a very small Taiping Rebellion. It almost became a regional power. We could have utilized that. But no matter. The revolt has happened, and the revolt shall conclude in the manner that it usually does. Which, in my experience, is usually Qing beats it, and then they're fine. But we'll see if that's true. This time around. Burning Ashes, we are going to spend money on that, because that could be a really bad result. Minus 12, so it's the... Oh, no, this is the worst Krakatoa possible, where the negative is minus 30 if you do nothing, and minus 22 if you do something. Yep, so grain prices are going to really start spiking here. Okay, so we'll see what we can do about that. Literacy is still really low, which is just a pain to me, but oh well. We're just gonna try to pass per capita to get more money. If I can't get higher literacy, then we'll just brute force it with more money. We'll just brute force it with money. I don't think that will work, but we can try. Also because we're spending an awful lot of money on expenditures at this point. And it's really painful. Krakatoa lasts at least 5 years, I believe. Yeah, so that's gonna hurt. Desperate allies is good. It means we have to buff the gentry assembly. But I'll take it anyway. North German secession. Not what I hoped to see. There's no point in building these then. Or doing this, because it is just going to revolt. But it will remove pretty much all the radicals. Which is fine. We can deal with it. No one's going to join to support it. No one that's relevant, anyway. Speaking of relevancy, we'll make Wallachia Dominion now. And it looks like... Yes, Brazil has had its monarchy couped. Ooh. I'll just take the success chance. I think I've learned from the past. We really need to just get the success chance up. Because if we can make that pass and squeeze out that 81k, we can pretty much balance our budget again and continue to deficit spend despite the growing expenditures. We do have a negative on authority, which isn't fun, but oh well. And paper prices are actually below base price now, which is very, very good. Our radicals have dropped lately, so that's nice. Who dies? The Democrat, the Petite Bourgeoisie Democrat, now led by an abolitionist. Which I think... Oh, no, really? You're still at 0, so he's not going to leave the party. That's unfortunate. I was hoping that would mean they'd leave the party and they would join the cadets, because then that would make it a lot better and a lot easier for us. I don't think the universities are having fun, are they? They're not. They're giving us some additional innovation, though, but not a lot. Oh, man, that really sucks still. So past that, we really should get more innovation going, but our expenditures have been getting a lot higher. Because the one downside of switching a lot of clergymen to bureaucrats is that the bureaucrats do get paid more, which is great for their standard of living, but it's... Ooh. Ooh. No, we're going to stop that. I can't risk having the market liberal die. That would be very painful. Speaking of the market liberal, is he popular? No, he has, like, no popularity. In fact, that might make him leave now. So now I need to spend money to keep him here. Oh, the things we do to get off serfdom. Literally bribing people that we just brought in from overseas. Just gave them money and told them to, like, you know, just sit here and it'll be fine. I guess that works somehow, but, you know. A new mandate. So what we could do now... with our final mandate, I do want to get advanced research for when we do get education, but right now it wouldn't do anything. And the +1 standard of living from food standardization, while potentially useful, won't have an effect because it's a whole number, and due to pollution, it won't end up being a whole number. So, I mean, we could just build up advanced research now, that way we have it, so the moment it activates... Yeah, we might as well. That way, the moment we actually have schools, it'll be more effective. It's not perfect, but it's a solution to a problem. Ooh, that's... Oh, it just barely... It was just barely powerful despite having... Because it got all the... It got a bunch of ships, that's why. Darn. In here, I thought we had a very rare opportunity to yoink France as a vassal. I was ready to take it. I was just ready to seize on it and everything. But that's life. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you really don't. I suppose the next thing we need to do, if I switch this over to domestic only, even though we're not going to have a lot of people for it, we really do need to get a couple of things rolling. So is Yaroslav just not... Oh, it's just not recruiting people. Oh, I guess all the people we got in the rye farm with the subsidies kind of yoinked them elsewhere, because we just don't have the education, we don't have the 20... Right, because we don't have the 20% literacy, these peasants are gaining almost no workforce. That's why I really want the literacy rate up, but we have to get off serfdom still. Although we could pass private schools now, that is technically true. And then we could switch to public later. Private would at least boost it up a little bit. But a big issue is the orthodoxy is kind of dropping it down. Although their clout has been falling over the last couple of months, so that's good to see. The industrialist cloud has been rising. Temporary embarrassment, I'll just take the hit. I really can't afford the tax cut. It's still at 40%, so we should be fine. What we're going to have to do here is spread a lot of buildings out now. Try to do that, because we have just a massive qualifications deficit at this point. which is really painful, but there's not much that I can do about that at the moment. Yeah. But I think almost 20 years in, we're doing good. We're not doing too bad. We've gotten a couple of subjects. Another temporary embarrassment. 30% stall chance rolled twice. That's not good. It keeps rolling. We're going to have a huge problem really fast. The guaranteed moderate just died. I think it was the industrialists, and they're led by another moderate. Ooh, free university from the industrialists. I'll take the bureaucrat loyalty, actually. It's not bad. We're kind of just building up a bunch of easily to employ buildings just to get more pops employed, maybe get them higher, get the wood prices down a little. Our financial problems are getting worse as interest rises. That additional cost and the volcanic winter issues are what's hurting us, though. Social banditry. Dang, we're getting unlucky. 3 stalls in a row now. That is really unlucky. But, as you've seen, sometimes bad luck happens. Sometimes the person playing the game forgets to research things. You know, it just happens. I think one thing we can do to somewhat balance out our qualification problem is more universities. But that doesn't really deal with the fact that low literacy is a massive nerf to peasant qualifications. So is serfdom, of course, because if you see an engineers here, if they're under serfdom, they won't gain any. That's why I'm really trying to get off serfdom as soon as possible. They just can't become engineers at all. I'm kind of trying to not construct too much more until we, at least get per capita pass. But at the rate we're going, per capita might not pass. Man, a third temper... Man, this is... Oh, okay. Temporary embarrassments. I'm just going to take the tax cut at this point. I forgot temporary embarrassments are actually debates. But in that case, it means we kept rolling debate and stall and didn't roll success once. I should have just taken the penalty right off the bat. It would have been easier. Or the industrials have the second most clout now. Interesting. In fact, we could make their market liberal a general, guaranteeing him power. Ooh. Can at least benefit the philosophy department. Are any of these light taxation capacity issue? We could do that, but I think that just increases costs. It does. Yeah, I don't know why it's... I just kind of noticed it. It's not telling me that I'm not researching anything up at the top. Maybe I canceled that by mistake and didn't notice. That's possible. Very possible, actually. Egalitarianism would help. We do need to get that in labor movement to get the communists to appear, because we had to get to socialism, but we need the trade union. That doesn't have to be the trade union specifically, but it would be helpful if they were around. I do want to grab central banking just to make this pain less painful. But steel frame buildings would help with construction a ton too. There's a lot of research we need to get going here, but our research is just so slow. If we grab corporate charters, we could actually benefit our agricultural businesses, or any other business really, but I like to benefit the agricultural businesses, Russia. Just because the rye farms can make so much liquor, making liquor cheap. Actually, liquor prices have really gone up. They used to be around minus 30. Grains at plus 20. Ugh. You know what? Let's help rush corporate charters and get that done first. And then we'll get some other social techs going. Nope. Let the cadet party do what it pleases. Oh, no. That's unfortunate. Yeah, the parties ended up splitting. That is really unfortunate, but we'll just make do. We need more construction despite the expenditures. I guess we'll benefit the industrialist party in some manner, at least. It won't be a lot. It won't help too much, but it'll be something. In fact, I think what's going on here is because we're making too many regular clothes, right? Yeah. Let's switch some of those over. That should drop this price a bit, right? Yep. And then we could actually... Tea is useful. We do need cotton. Actually, can't we just import cotton? Fabric, cotton, whatever you call it. Ah, from the Greeks. Why not? And you know what? How's our power block doing? Is it... it's fine cohesion-wise. We'll just invite the Greeks. Why not? That way they're in our little group of misfits. Would not call this my best Russia game. I don't think it is, at least. But I wouldn't call it a bad Russia game either. We're just suffering from interesting dice rolls, shall we say. And also the painful fact that at the rate we're going, we might actually really have to start thinking about not doing any construction. The interest rates are starting to hurt, but if we can just get per capita to pass, it'll drop enough. And then I might have to let the construction pool empty a bit here and there. Not too much, but I'll probably have to let it do a few things. It's just serfdom, though. Serfdom was what's killing our qualifications. If we could get off serfdom, we'd be fine. But the issue is that only the petit bourgeoisie really support that. They are getting stronger, which is something at least, but I don't think they're getting strong enough. Well, it might help a little. Nope, still not enough. We'll get the advanced research mandate kind of set up and ready to go. Ooh, aristocrat revolt. Oh, we might be able to use that if they like us. They might not like us, though. They're cautious. They started cautious. No, minus 151. That's very high. And they don't like us at all. Philanthropy? Nope. Leverage support for per capita. I want to at least get per capita taxation before we stop here for the day, since we're kind of testing to see how a Let's Play does. Yeah, if we could just get the qualifications. That's just what's killing us, is those qualifications. If those were gone, we'd be fine. But right now we're just kind of building a bunch of buildings that can't recruit well because literacy is low. I've had times when I can get off serfdom by the early 1840s. This time we're like in the mid-1850s and still on it, and it really hurts. But the fact we ended the Orthodoxy Church's power is pretty big. That is kind of a rare win for us. They're actually almost at the point where they would cease to exist. Damn, are we really going to roll last-minute stalls now? Ah, that's frustrating. I'm kind of just trying to spread a bunch of buildings out here. Because at least then, if they're no longer peasants, if they're working the rye fields as laborers, then at the very least they can gain the farmer qualifications. And their standard of living will be slightly higher. Engineers does require the literacy to be higher. Their literacy is almost nothing. Because it isn't able to move up fast. But it is something at least. Ooh, okay. What if the regular Dutch, though? Who would join? Sweden. Okay. Let's actually, yeah, let's do that. Ah, did Austria yoink it first? Yep. I was gonna try to get the Netherlands as our subject, but Austria managed to yoink it before us. Their request was accepted before our request. Theirs was accepted before ours was, so... Oh, they literally have no one in government, so we can't even do an ideological matchup. That's a little unfortunate. Okay, can we at least pass per capita? At least get us that. Because that would at least make this a little less painful for us. I do need to switch more of these off of making clothes. I'm actually going to build up Kiev's clothing industry a bit, just because it does have a lot of pops it can utilize. I'm going to take the penalty to try to pass it faster, because we're really riding on it passing now, before we go bankrupt here. No, I didn't mean to build 10 in Kharkiv. I thought it popped another 5 elsewhere. I didn't realize that it just popped 5 there. Yeah, we'll do that too, just to bring prices down. Try to raise this. When does volcanic winter end? In 7 months? That will help. Ah, this is just not going as well as I would like it. I mean, we at least have Bolivia as a subject, so we've got that going for us. We took a Prussian state, which I think knocked them out a little. Not by a lot. And out of personal preference, so you don't need to do this yourself, but it's personal preference for me, we are going to grab the Grain Guild to buff our rye farms. They might not be doing well in the hiring department, But we can at least give them a leg up. That did drop grain prices by 10, which is then going to see the grain be bought more. But it is, yep. It is causing some of our pops to go up in a standard of living level, which is something that we can utilize. It's not perfect, but it is helpful. We're actually using a lot of the construction pool. I didn't realize that until now. Makes some sense. Intelligentsia are getting quite powerful, which is good to see. What about over here? We didn't really build this area up that much, so we could build that up a little. Yep, makes sense. Come on, please pass it already. Finally! Oh my god, that took forever. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to use this surplus. It's going to knock down a lot of our people's standard of living, mind you. We're going to use the surplus to mainly drop our debt right now because interest is starting to eat into a lot of our budget. But once it gets low enough, we'll start doing more construction. But now we're no longer in that red danger zone of going bankrupt, which is good. And I'm noticing there's a few areas where we could actually switch the tax system over, which should be a lot more beneficial now that it's no longer land-based. This is still being incorporated, so there's no point in investing into it yet. What else? Kharkiv, we just switched. Or Zara could be switched. Tula, I think, was one. And then Warsaw. I'm just going to call it Warsaw for short. It does actually just need some government administration. We'll do one more tick, let that go, and then for the moment, we're going to kind of end the part 1 here. I do intend to make a part 2 tomorrow to make this a lot longer, but I wanted to do a somewhat shorter-ish video, kind of get feedback, see how we're doing. I'd say we're not doing too bad, but we have gotten some pretty bad rolls. It is unfortunate that we're still in serfdom because that is hurting qualifications. Literacy is still low. But what we can try next time, because there is a lot of support for it now at least, we can try to pass tenant farming next time. It's still going to have a lot of resistance to it, a very high stall chance, but there's a decent chance it passes as well now since the petite bourgeoisie have more power. I was hoping... Actually, forget it. We're now guaranteed to pass it because I just put the market liberal in charge. So, there we go. Because it has been exactly 5 years. We can even pop the industrialists in for an added bonus. And so next time... Probably by 1857, 1858, we'll be off serfdom. And once serfdom's gone, our peasants can start gaining a lot of qualifications, rise in standard of living, and then we will use them to either pass private or public schools. We will probably do public schools because that will have a greater impact on education access early on. Private does help the intelligentsia, but we just need this to go up as fast as possible. So I will see you on the next time when we do that. We're going to use that to massively boost Russia, grow it a lot faster. I see Persia's been expanding, which is good. And since our infamy is low, we'll use that to start more wars as well, grow our power further. But it's not too bad. We've got a bit of South America, a bit of here. Took all of the Ottoman subjects, so they're ours now. And they're all giving us money for a total of 27k, which hopefully we'll just see that rise as time goes on. And if all goes well, the next time we do this, we should be in a very, very good position to push for socialism. I don't know who will be in charge. We are not actively researching anything. When did that happen? It's been a couple months, hasn't it? I'm sorry. I'm trying to end the video. I think I need to restart the game to make it appear again. I must have accidentally cleared it, and it's just really been killing us not having that appearing. It has just really killed us here. But what we'll probably do is this technological makeup as well, because I'm expecting by the time we get modern sewerage, we'll have schools, and then the 1860s we can get steel frames to push for things faster, and then probably push towards socialism. No idea what's going on in my issues with the technology not showing up here. In fact, a lot of things haven't been showing up, so that might be an issue on my end I need to resolve. That's been a slight dent for us here, but I think we'll be okay. Just want to tick that to see what that is then. 2886. Okay, we should be fine. Anyway, I will see you next time, and do let me know what you thought of this. I appreciate any feedback, positive and very negative. Until next time.